And here we are live at the Free to Fly online conference and fashion show. I am Patricia with a Y, and I am here with my beautiful co-host, all in Freebird fashions, of course. That would be Sasha, not Mr. Microphone
Hello.
in the middle. And Sasha, and joining Sasha and I tonight is one we have been really, really excited about. This is something I would have loved listening to about 10 years ago when I was in the thick of things. It is what to do with an unsupportive spouse in order to reach success. So we're going to start with Mark. Coach Mark, you're here tonight. You've been doing this for a lot of years. Can you please tell us what is the definition of an unsupportive spouse? Because for a lot of people, people whine about their husbands or they whine about their wives, and those are normal things. What's the difference between normal unsupportive and unsupportive in a way that's harmful?
Gotcha. Well, first off, thank you for inviting me to share in this space. Love your mission, love your work, and I'm honored to be here. And we're not just talking about spouses. It can be any kind of a partner. It could be a romantic partner, it could be a family member. But basically, by unsupportive, we mean that they are not buying in to your dreams. They're not lending any positive energy. They're not lending support. Or at the other end of the spectrum, they could be negative. They could be pouring cold water on everything you're doing. Instead of being your cheerleader, they are actively campaigning and doing everything they can to derail you.
And that's not a pleasant place to be, whether it is a partner or, like you say, a parent, anybody really within your life that's not giving you that support for your dreams.
It's not very empowering. When you get into a business, you would think that the people closest to you would be the first ones to high five you and give you support and encouragement and so on. Unfortunately, though, that's not the case, and there's various reasons why they don't do it, they can't do it, and we'll dig into those in a little bit. But the most important thing to remember is that it's not you. It is their stuff. If they don't get the mission, if they don't get the prize, if they don't get the goddess that you are and the massive difference you're going to make in the world, then you can't take that personally.
And you know what? I think that's an absolutely excellent point. Something that we probably all need to hear once in a while. That's for sure. Now, that leads into our next question. Do you feel that a woman actually needs a man in order to be successful?
Well, a lot of women are going to love hearing this from a man, but the answer is hell no. No woman actually needs a man in order to achieve success. Women are amazingly powerful, capable, competent, resourceful, creative, and if more men simply realize how incredible women are, we wouldn't be having this call here tonight.
Good.
And you know what? That's a good point. And we are fully in support of that statement. Now, what is the root of a lack of support? Is it ego, fear, because they're maybe a little bit of an a-hole? What would you say is really the key here?
It could be a little bit of all of the above. If a partner's unsupportive simply because he doesn't contribute, doesn't get excited, doesn't go out of his way, chances are it's more because that's his nature. Like if you're selling makeup or lingerie, it's not really realistic to expect a man to get all excited about that particular venture. So if you start talking to him about the latest French lace camisoles or the latest cherry red lipstick, his eyes are going to roll out of his head and you're going to lose him. So know your adversary, know what you are actually up against. And when somebody is actually having a strong negative energetic reaction to it, then that's clearly something heavier, that is something deeper. A lot of men are intimidated by powerful women. Men, some of them do not like for women to be successful. They think that that's going to undermine their control, their position in the relationship, especially when she actually starts to make more money than him. I actually knew a lady, she was amazing woman. She was like an Amazon, 6 foot tall, and very capable, powerful, sexual woman. She was a top leader in one of the intimate products businesses, high six-figure earner. Her husband wasn't happy. All this guy had to do was basically lay around in silk pajamas, be pampered, and let her try out the latest products on him. And all he did was complain because he didn't get to pay the bills. So in that case, that was clearly an issue of his fragile ego and his values and not being able to be in the space with a powerful woman. So
And
there was some opportunity for them, though. They could have co-created it. You know, she could have realized that that was a basic need of his and created a space where he could do it so he could feel fulfilled. But she was so in her power, she didn't feel the need to acquiesce to that. There are some men that really are very tight-fisted in a relationship. Unfortunately, there are some who are extremely controlling, demanding, abusive, don't really want her to have any form of a life or enjoyment whatsoever. And that is obviously a much deeper issue. That is something that really does need some serious professional help to ratify. So in that situation, her opportunity is to do what she needs to do to protect herself from that energy. But again, the bottom line for all of this is she simply needs to know that it is not her. Now, there are some ways that she could be causing some of her lack of support. And we can look into that a little bit later on. It does actually sound surprising to some people, but if she is like completely going on about her business all the time and not giving him any airspace, then chances are he's going to get burned out. He's not going to want to hear about it anymore. So you start talking to him and he shuts off. But if you let him talk about the Chicago Bears once in a while, or the baseball team, or the latest brewskis, you let him have a little bit of a back and forth, then it kind of creates a little bit of a dynamic to have a dialogue and at least get a little bit of considerate energy going.
absolutely, and that is a relationship, because it really is a give and take in all relationships. Now, when you are in one of those relationships where it's not so positive, where you're actually being surrounded or by, is there a way that you can isolate yourself from the negative energy to find that space?
Yes, there absolutely is. And one of the greatest things that really helped me, I'll step back a second. I haven't actually been in a true abusive, restrictive relationship, so I can only be rhetorical here. I have been in relationships where my efforts were not appreciated and there was like some resistance and so on. But I heard about a book by Viktor Frankl, who was a psychiatrist, a Jewish psychiatrist in World War II, who was interned in the concentration camps, Auschwitz, Dachau, Bergen-Belsen, so on. So absolutely probably the worst sets of human circumstances in history. So in the middle of all this carnage and torture and death and so on, this man recognized that no matter what these people did, they could not take away his ability to choose his response and his emotions. Now, that's an extreme situation, but it was significant to me because if this man can hold his space in the middle of all that, then that gives a glimmer of hope for people, no matter how severe their situation, that there is some power they do hold. There is something that they can do about it. They can realize that there is some light at the end of the tunnel. Going back a little bit from those severe cases, first and foremost, you don't take anything personally. I don't know if you guys have read the book The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Number two literally changed my life. When you realize that anything that's coming out of anybody else's mouth is completely their stuff. It's not about you in any way, shape, or form. So, Patricia, if we get off this interview here, then you call me up and say, hey, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Okay, I'll say thank you and hang up. Okay, because it's not my stuff. Okay, so we don't take anything personally. Now, you got to be careful if you are in a potentially violent relationship, because if you're not taking anything personally, that could piss them off as well, because now you're not listening, you're not caring, and that can spark the fire. So you don't take it personally, but you be careful how you do manage those emotions. I am a big fan of energy clearing. Even though I practice yoga and I meditate every day, I have a certain energetic type where things build up on me very quickly, and I have to exit stage left and shake them off. And sometimes it's just as simple as getting out of the room, stepping outside into the sunshine, and literally physically just, shake off this negative energy, this stuff. It sounds like a silly thing to do, but I guarantee you, if you just stand up and you shake your hands and you visualize any funky, junky crap that's not yours leaving your body, take a deep breath, you are going to feel a little bit lighter and a little bit cleaner when you do go back into the space.
Well,
So,
all the teen girls in the world are going to love that Taylor Swift was actually right on that you just do shake it off.
so and I do it several times a day, so I'm not just sitting here being academic, because maintaining my energetic space is critical. I just left a corporate job that was extremely draining, extremely toxic. I had a 90-minute commute each way, and I showed up every day with a smile on my face, and they thought I was on some kind of medications, which I'm not, legal or illegal. I don't do any of that stuff. But, I chose my response. And during the day, I chose not to be impacted and affected. And I stay close to great people like Carol and Patricia and Sasha. I can get you on the phone. I can swap an email, do a text. And so if I can't get energy from my partner, then I can reach out and I can help get my tank filled by somebody else that does get me, that does appreciate it, and does see the vision.
Reaching out to other support and to learning how to shake it off. That's some great advice. As you're going through that, and you've got an unsupportive partner, continue to make progress toward change. I know that, so often as business owners, or even as we're trying to improve ourselves, we're already hearing those voices in our heads. When that voice is outside our head, it can be doubly hard to keep working towards that success. Do you have any tips on how to continue working?
Yes. My previous business was called Successful Together Coaching. And I said previous because I've rebranded to open up to some other things. But the idea of successful together, was to get to the finish line together, even if you're not currently together on the venture. Now, presuming, of course, she actually wants to. Okay, so if she is interested, if she's one of these amazing, loving women that is willing to forgive, to forget, and rebuild and rekindle and create something meaningful for them both that they can enjoy, and she's holding that vision alone for a little while, then that's simply what she needs to do. Now, if he's giving her every indication that she needs to bail out and it's not really worth her while, then she's holding the vision for herself, and to know that every step that she takes is going to move her forwards to something that's really, truly right for her. And whether or not he gets to be a part of it or not, or she, it could be a female partner, because believe it or not, the men are in that situation too.
Mm-hmm.
Then, if he doesn't wake up and realize the gold that he has in her, the gift that he has, and what she's trying to do, then he has made a choice. Okay, so at some point she has to realize she is doing this first and foremost for herself. She is trying to create something. It is her dream, it's her vision, her fantasy. Now, if he's not on board at the beginning, he may warm up to it later on. He may never warm up to it. I was sharing with somebody earlier this evening, actually, a top leader in a direct sales company routinely brings in $50,000 a month. Okay, her father still asks her, when are you going to get a real job? Okay, because he doesn't see business as a real job. Now, if somebody's born and raised in multiple generations of factory workers, you show up, you punch the clock, you punch out, you go home, you get paid a set amount per hour, they are not going to grasp the concepts of entrepreneurship. Okay, so be aware of that fact. You didn't know it all overnight. It took you a little while to grasp it and to get it. Yes, you're excited. You just got this new lead. You just launched this new teleseries. You got this wonderful Freebird project going on. So you want to tell me, oh, look what I got. I got this, I got this, I got that. Now, you talk to somebody like me, I'll be high-fiving you and breaking out the tequila. But if I don't know jack about business, then I'll try and be accommodating, but sooner or later you're going to lose me, because I'm just not wired that way. I don't have that information. So share it with them. Don't be attached to the response that you get. but turn around to the people that are in your circle that will be all bubbly and ecstatic and happy and excited for every single little step and breakthrough that you get. And keep your eye on the prize no matter what happens. I heard a quote a little while back, and actually I thought about getting it tattooed on my forehead. It says, "What is meant for you cannot be lost." Okay? So know that at all times. If something is truly meant for you, it cannot be lost, and nobody, especially an unsupportive partner, is going to rob you of that.
Yeah, but that just gave me goosebumps. One of my accountability partners went through something very similar to that and said something similar to that. Dealing with a client that she felt that she was going to lose. She's like, if it was meant for me, I'll find the money in some other way because God meant it for me and it won't be lost. And so that's a wonderful attitude to have, that you can't, if it's meant for you, you can't be losing it. Now, here is a question that we have that really common, especially amongst mothers and people that have no time. What can you do if you barely have any time to do your own thing? We know our own thing is important to keeping that oxygen mask on, but what do you do when you don't have time to pursue that? We freeze the screen. That's what happens. And is it just me that's frozen? Are you? No, we're... Okay, you're not frozen. Miss Sasha isn't.
I'm still good, but looks like Mark hasn't moved for a moment or two.
No, looks like he went still. Oh, just a couple. I've been enjoying this conversation and hearing. Is there anything in this that that's really...
Oh, I think this is absolutely fantastic. And I mean, I really like Mark in the way that he's touching on the fact that it's really not just ever going to be one-sided as well. I mean, and we do get busy and we do get excitable, and, you know, we definitely do, and we have a right to, but I really like that he also showcased the fact that, you know, we also have to be willing to give a little bit, but at the end of the day, take care of ourselves and our needs and our goals.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely making clear that it is a partnership. It does look like we lost Mark, unfortunately. We will try and get him back at a future date so we can ask those last few questions, because I'm sure that there are questions out in the audience because fascinating stuff. And so we'll get in touch with him and we'll get him back on here. Meanwhile, if you do have any questions for him for the next time we get him in the hot seat, do forward them our way. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us for the Free to Fly online conference and fashion show. Here's our fashions, here's our show, and we hope that you're enjoying this series so far. We have some great guests coming up this weekend. We have Anita Bantata, who is going to be, she'll be in morning time on Sunday, but it'll be our Saturday afternoon. So we've got her on Saturday afternoon, and we also have, I believe it's Christine Madera, who will be on in the morning. So we've got some great talent coming up. Sorry that we lost Mr. Mark, but evidently the connection just didn't like him today.
And don't forget, guys, we are on social media. So we are on Twitter at Freebirds_PROJ. We are on Facebook as well. And don't forget, you can see all of our upcoming scheduling information at thefreebirdproject.org. And of course, buy our awesome clothing. It's at thefreebirdprojectshop.com. So guys, make sure to check them out. And as always, leave your comments, questions. We are looking forward to getting more back soon.
Awesome. And yes, when you buy from the Freebird Project shop, remember a portion of the proceeds go towards helping domestic violence victims, and that's what we're all about. We're for survivors, because 1 in 4 women in North America will experience domestic violence within her lifetime. So that's why we're doing this, to bring awareness to it and to sell some awesome clothes, because, you know, we've got these beautiful things made to order from Bali. Go order a few. Order for your friends too. There's some great stuff there. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time on Saturday.